Hello guys, it's Keegan here from Team Victory Star, and today I'm going to be covering Volcanion and talking about the deck. In my opinion, I think it's one of the best decks in the standard format. I rank it in my top two. I think it's the second best deck, followed by Vettel Garbodor currently right now in the standard format. And today I'm going to be profiling my list that I'm currently testing with, and talking about how it could be a really good call for Dallas Regionals. It'll also, in my opinion, be a really good call for like upcoming League Cups that are happening. I personally myself am not going to any standard regionals within like the next month probably because of work. But I am going to be trying to go to 2 League Cups, and both of my League Cups that I'm going to be attending hopefully are in the standard format. Well, like, I know they're in the standard format, but I'm trying to go to them or confirm that I'm going to be going to them. So hopefully, if you're in the Indianapolis region during the times of January or just in the early January / late January, you'll probably see me at a League Cup and say hi to me, all that stuff. Anyways, though, today I'm going to be talking about Volcanion, my specific list, and why I really love the deck and have grown to be in love with the deck. So I've played this deck ever since the new standard format was announced in September, being Primal Clash onward. I immediately thought to myself, this is, right off the top of my head, in my opinion, the best deck in the format, besides maybe Mega Mewtwo at the time. And I basically have played it almost at every tournament that's been standard format that I've been to, except I believe one, which I played Volcanion Mega, and I did meh with it. But I think at every tournament I went to, I've done very well with this deck, and except Fort Wayne. Obviously, I kind of scrubbed out at Fort Wayne, but meh, it was okay. Anyways, though, today I'm going to be talking about the deck, so let's get into it. What you guys came for and stuff. The list that I'm playing with. So, the Pokemon lineup. We're playing 3 Baby Volcanion. It's your main starter that you'd like to, lead with. It has the attacks Power Heater and Steam Artillery. Power Heater for 1 fire energy does 20 damage, and you can accelerate up to 2 fires from your discard to 2 different benched Pokemon of your choosing. Like, you can attach 1 to 1 and another 1 to another 1. Which is a really good attack. It's a better Oblivion Wing for this deck, and it has really good synergy with Steam Up. I'll get into that in a minute. And then you also have Steam Artillery for 3 fire, which does 100 damage. Again, it's a really good. I like this attack a lot. You usually use it in the Vettel Garbodor matchup at least once to KO a Garbodor if you're needing to. It's a pretty solid attack. And again, with Steam Up, you can do a lot of damage with this guy very quickly. We play 1 Entei. You're mainly playing Entei for its second attack, which is Combat Blaze, which does 20 plus 20 for each benched Pokemon on your opponent's board, or each one. Or it does 20 plus 20 for each one of your benched or your opponent's benched Pokemon in play. So if they have a full bench of 8 with Skyfield in play, Combat Blaze is doing 180, and then with Steam Ups plus Fighting Fairy Belt, you're doing even more damage. But even if they have the regular bench amount of 5, you're still doing a base of 120, and with 2 Steam Ups, that's 180. You could KO pretty much almost any regular EX in the format without Fighting Fury Belt, which is pretty cool. For Volcanion EX, this is arguably your heart and soul of the deck. You have the Steam Up ability, which allows you to, if you have a fire energy in your hand, you may discard it. And if you do, each of your fire Pokemon's, basic fire Pokemon's attacks do 30 more damage during your turn, which is really good. Just doing a lot of damage very quickly. And then it's arguably your main attacker also in the deck with Volcanic Heat. Volcanic Heat for 2 fire and a colorless does 130 damage, and it states during your next turn you cannot use this attack, or this Pokemon cannot attack during your next turn. But we play ways to counter or get around this effect, and you can use this attack multiple times throughout the game, and it's it's an amazing attacker in my opinion. All 3 of the fire Pokemon that you attack with in this deck are great attackers in my opinion. You can You could also play things like the other Entei with the trait to like Flame Screed for like 2 energy, which it's a good defensive attack in my opinion. But this is your main attacking Pokemon line. I think it's the best that you could probably play currently right now. You also play 2 Shaman and a Hoopa for setting up your board and getting you to where you need to be. At Fort Wayne, I played 3 Shaman and 1 Hoopa. I really, really liked it. Back then, but now I think 2 is fine. You don't need to burn through your deck as quickly as I thought you needed to back in Fort Wayne. But that's your Pokemon lineup. Onto your items, we're playing 2 copies of Enhanced Hammer. Enhanced Hammer is really, really good in a heavy special energy format. It's good against 1 Yveltal, which plays DCE. It's really, really good. It's good against Rainbow Road, which is another somewhat hard matchup. If they bounce off really, really quickly and KO your EXs super quickly, you could be in a bit of trouble. But Enhanced Hammer slows them down, so that way they're effectively working with, if you play it right, 2 DCE throughout a game, which is almost impossible to do unless they're playing like Special Charge or something, and then they have to at one point go with like a Galvantula or something else to attack you with, or else they lose. I like it a lot. You're mainly playing the Enhanced Hammer though for the Yveltal matchup. It helps your Yveltal matchup more because it means you're less likely to be Pitch Black Speared multiple times. It means you're less likely to be KO'd from an Evil Ball multiple times. It means that they're less likely to Y-Cyclone a DCE around. It's really, really good. 2 copies of Escape Rope. I like Escape Rope over Switch in this deck because it forces your opponent to switch, and in a format which some people are playing Jolteon in, it's really, really good. If you don't like Escape Rope, you could cut the 2 Escape Rope for a Switch. I don't think I would play Volcanion ever without at least 1 Escape Rope in it. If you want to try 1 Escape Rope, 1 Switch for certain scenarios, that's up to you. I personally like 2 Escape Rope the best out of the 3 potential Switch options that you could have in these 2 card slots. I really, really like it. I think it's great. 2 Float. Another, it's really, really good. It's weak in the Yveltal matchup because of Fright Night, if they don't have Garb in play, but if they do have Garb in play, it effectively is a free retreat every time you can ask for it. Really, it's really good. I like it a lot. It's also just good in general because if you attach both of these float stones like 2 Volcanion EXs, you could just pivot between the 2 of them and just Volcanic Heat multiple times until one of them dies. 2 Fury Belt. It's good to have extra HP in. If you're playing against the Yveltal, you can have more extra HP if they have Garb in play, which is nice because 220 is way better to have than 180. It's really, really good for that reasoning. It also sets up nice numbers against like Rainbow Road, for instance, because with a Fury Belt, if you have 3 Steam Ups with a Baby Volcanion, you're doing exactly 120, which is nice instead of like having to do 4 Steam Ups without a Fury Belt. It's really, really good. It makes 160 an awkward HP to deal, or HP amount to deal with your Entei for just 1 prize. It's pretty good. I like it a lot. 3 energy retrieval. You have to play at least 3 in my opinion in this deck. I don't think there is any time where I would play 2 or less energy retrieval in this deck. At one point I actually cut Fisherman for 4 energy retrieval. I really disliked that. And I liked Fisherman more in the spot, or in this deck, because you could Versus Seeker for Fisherman, whereas you can't Versus Seeker for energy retrieval. Which is why I am sticking with 3 though. It's a really, really good number. I played the same amount at Fort Wayne and I liked it. There's not a time when I usually whiffed Fire Energy for KO. There was like maybe once I whiffed a KO. That's because I needed 4 energy to do it, and I had 3 of the 4. I whiffed a Fire, I think. I didn't even whiff an energy retrieval. But yeah, so 3 energy retrievals, pretty nice. I like 4 Ultra Ball and 4 Versus Seeker. Those are standard pretty much in almost every deck ever, except arguably Plume Box for Versus Seekers, and maybe Greninja if they're playing like less Ultra Ball because they're playing Dive Ball and Level Ball. Otherwise, every deck plays at least 4 Ultra Ball and 4 Versus Seeker. You also play 4 Max Elixir because it's great acceleration in the deck. At one point I actually took out Elixirs, and then whenever the Orlando list popped up that top 8'd, I saw that it played elixirs, and I was like, all right, I got to put these elixirs back in because apparently it's really, really good. Turns out it is. I've won so many games off the fact that I was able to get a turn 2 Volcanic Heat off and apply so much pressure to my opponent super quickly. It was disgusting. But yeah, that's our item lineup that we're playing. On to our supporters. We're playing 1 Fisherman. It's great for recovery. With 4 Verse Seekers in the deck, you have 5 supporter outs to recovery, fire energies, along with 3 energy retrieval. It's really, really good. 1 Olympia. I like Olympia over Ranger in the sense that you're healing, and you're able to pivot with Floatstone, which is really, really nice. The cool thing is that Olympia sets up weird math so that way Fright Night has to 4-shot Volcanion, basically, with the help of Rough Seas. If there's like a Garb and a Fighting Fury Belt in play, it's pretty nice. It makes it really awkward. They actually, I think, have to 5-shot you in order to get a KO, which is pretty sick, assuming Garb's in play. If Garb isn't in play, I think it's still a 3-shot no matter what, but Olympia is really, really good, in my opinion. It gives you another switching out. Again, before VS, it makes it really hard for you sometimes to whiff a Volcanic Heat attack. It's really good. I like it. 1 Delinquent. This is great against the Vettel. It's actually a surprise factor supporter that I'm playing now. A standard Volcanion list would probably play Ranger in this spot, so you would have Ranger plus Olympia plus 4 VS and 2 Verse Seeker, 2 Float, or not 2 Verse Seeker, 2 Rope and 2 Floatstone to have so many switching outs / resetting outs for Volcanic Heat. But Delinquent is really, really good against a card known as Parallel City that a Vettel and a lot of other decks have been picking up on and playing at least like a copy or 2 of it because it's a really, really stupid stadium. But Delinquent makes it nice so you have another out to countering Parallel City, and also if your opponent doesn't play, it forces your opponent to play around the fact that you have a Delinquent in your deck. And if they slip up once and have 3 cards in their hand, you can Delinquent them, get rid of a stadium in play, get rid of their hand. They're effectively on top deck mode for the rest of the game. If they don't top deck into an out, they lose and you win. It's pretty simple. It's really, really good. Unless you misplay it and like end them or something. But usually you don't if you're somewhat smart in the game. 2 Lysander wins you games. 2 N, it's great shuffle draw in the early turns of the game. It kind of sucks / it gets weaker obviously in the late game. It's harder to deal with / it's like this deck it kind of blows when you get N to 2, hoping to hit one of your outs. But I do it sometimes and sometimes I don't. It's the game of Pokemon for you. Then 4 Sycamore because it's like the best supporter in format. And then we play 2 Skyfield. It lets you fill up on your bench and also can open up a bait strategy to have your opponent fill up their bench a lot, and then you just Entei and capitalize on whatever threat they had in the active. You KO it with Combat Blaze. It's really, really cool to do that. We play 1 Rough Seas because with the help of Olympia, it effectively nullifies a snipe that you did with Pitch Black Spear. For example, if you have an active Volcanion in EX with 3 fire on it, and it took 60 from a Pitch Black Spear, and let's say they don't have Garb online, or no, they do have Garb online, but they don't have a Fighting Fury Belt, for instance, or something. As an example, you can drop Rough Seas, heal 30 on both of your guys, and if you have a bench Volcanion, either with a Floatstone or a Volcanion with 3 energy on it, you can Olympia, healing the active entirely from a Pitch Black Spear, unless they had Fighting Fury Belt. In that case, that Volcanion has only 10 damage on it. And you can switch into another Volcanion and either attack with it, or you can retreat into your 10 damaged Volcanion, or potentially 10 damaged Volcanion, and just Volcanic Heat. It's really, really good just to, again, nullify some Pitch Black Spear damage that your opponent's doing, and it makes it a little bit weirder math for your opponent to Evil Ball you or whatever. It's really, really good. Even if you're playing it just as a one-of stadium, in my opinion, I still think it's really, really nice. You could arguably, if you cut Hoopa and the 2 Skyfield from the list, you could probably play 2 Rough Seas and, I don't know, something else. like the Ranger, for instance, if you wanted to. You'd probably have a little bit of a slower setup, but you would be less prone to, like, obviously starting Hoopa or having more healing with Rough Seas. It's pretty solid. Lastly, we're playing 12 Fire. I don't ever want to go down to 11 ever. 11 sucks. 12 is the number that you need to play, in my opinion. If you're not playing 12 Fire in your Volcanion list, you're probably doing something wrong. Because with 12 Fire and 4 Wax Elixir, you're almost guaranteed to hit at least 3 of them throughout a game. And with enough, you have enough energy with the likes of Energy Retrieval or Fisherman to last you throughout the game to get KOs with Steam Ups and stuff. It's pretty solid. And that's the deck. Things that you could probably play in the list to make it a little bit more spicy and more of your own. You can play, like I said, more copies of either of the Entei from Ancient Origins. That's an option. You can play Flareon EX. It's another option. I don't like Flareon anymore in this list. I used to like it in the beginning, but it got a little bit weaker as the game advanced a little bit more. You could play Dragonite EX. Ahmed Ali actually played one at Fort Wayne, and he used it to help top 8, which is pretty cool. He did an interview on Team Fish Knuckles. If you want to check that out, I may throw a link in the description for that. You play more Shamans, obviously, for setup. Another card you can play in this list is Trainer's Mail for consistency. Personally, I don't think you need it. There's some decks that just don't need Trainer's Mail because they're super consistent. I think with my specific list, I think it's really consistent and you don't need it. You can play Ranger, obviously, in this list. It's really, really nice. You can also play other counter stadiums, like you can play Faded Town for mega matchups, which makes it easier for you to one-shot with Volcanion. You could play a card like Scorched Earth to get you more cards off of discarding energy. You could play more Skyfield. You could even play Parallel City in the list. I wouldn't advise playing Parallel City unless you're almost absolutely certain that you're going to be running into like nothing but Guardian Ray. Or even Greninja to an extent. It's like a dead card in the Yveltal matchup, and it's just a Delinquent War, in my opinion, which is why I'm not playing like 1 or 2 Parallel City in the list. But yeah, that's pretty much the deck. I really, really like it a lot. I think it's, like I said, I think it's one of the best decks in the standard format. I consistently keep on going back to it because it's a really, really fun deck to play. And for me, it's pretty easy to understand the main concept. You just discard energy and explode and blow up your opponent's board. It's disgusting. But yeah, I advise you to try out this list. If you're going to maybe Dallas, I would probably say play this exact 60. I don't think I would ever want to cut a card from this list. The only card I'm considering maybe cutting right now is a Delinquent for Ranger. And it just comes down to how much Yveltal you're expecting to run into. If you're thinking that you're going to have a hot run with the deck, then I would probably suggest playing Delinquent over Ranger. But if you don't think you're going to do as hot as you would like to, but you would still think you're going to like maybe top 64 or something, I'd probably play Ranger. Also, Ranger's good against Greninja because they Shadow Stitch, then you're just like, no. And you Ranger, and you can not only use Volcanic Heat, but you also nullify Shadow Stitching, which is really, really good. If I had it my way, I may actually cut something. I don't know what I'm wanting to cut yet, but I may cut something for the Rangers. So I can have a Ranger and a Delinquent in the list. But that's the list. I hope you all enjoy it. If you do, please give it a like, favorite, rating, comment, subscribe. I'll see you all in the next video, and peace.